Hey there, singers and singerettes, let's sing your style and learn about musical theater! What's going on, guys? This is Dave Trevor. Happy Friday. Singers and singerettes, get ready. We're going to be talking about musical theater. I could spend hours and hours talking about this because this is what I was trained in. This is where I got my musical training and my voice training and lots of training. But I want to give you guys some basics because if this is a style that you want to tackle, then hopefully after this lesson is over, you'll be able to have that sort of knowledge to really go after it. Okay, guys? Awesome. Okay, so first off, what is musical theater? Well, musical theater is this. There's not really a very good dictionary definition for it. I mean, there is, but I'll give you my personal definition because I think this will make more sense. It's this. Musical theater is, instead of acting out the story, you're singing your story. You're singing your entire story. And I will say right now that this style may not be for everybody because it looks cheesy at times. If you don't believe me, go watch the movie Grease. It's a great movie, but they're singing about how they want to soup up a car, and instead of talking about it, they sing it, and they do little silly motions, and they dance and stuff like that. But it's extremely entertaining for those that enjoy that kind of thing. And there is a lot of skill involved in performing musical theater. So musical theater, once again, is this. It's singing your story. Okay, guys? Awesome. Now, how does musical theater differ greatly from other styles? Well, the first thing that it does is that with other styles, like say you've got like rock or you've got country or that sort of thing, well, unlike with musical theater, recording is where the money is with those styles. Whereas with musical theater, recording is not where the money is. The money is in the performing aspect. The money is in going out there and being in front of the audience and being in that stage and being on the limelight. That is where the real money comes from in musical theater. And with that, when you record in the studio, volume is a very big deal because in the recording studio, think of the microphone like an amp, okay? And when you get close to the microphone, everything that you say is amplified thousands of times over. So you don't really need to have a lot of volume. They can fix the volume and stuff like that. So if you were ever to record like a musical theater type thing, you would have to really pull back on your power. And it was actually something that was really hard for me to do because I was so used to musical theater that I was always trying to push and always trying to reach. But when you're recording, it's more intimate. It's more a one-on-one experience. Whereas with musical theater, you want the people in the very, very back of the house, back of the theater, to hear and see every word that you're singing. Okay, guys? Cool. So with that, what I wanted to say was that volume is extremely important. You have to realize that volume is one of the key things in singing musical theater because it has to be controlled and it has to be from the diaphragm consistently whole time through. It just has to be. It has to, because if it's not, well, it's just not going to work. And you have to realize that if you're going to go after this style, you have to learn how to sing from the diaphragm. You just have to. There's no way around it. Another thing to remember is you act with your face. What I mean by that is that you're conveying your emotions through what you're doing with your face. I mean, even when I was singing like, hey there, singers and singerettes, it's time, because you have to realize that if you're conveying your message to somebody in the back row, you want someone that's in the fifth row to get what you're saying. And if they can get what you're saying there, they will be able to get what you're saying and feel what you're saying through your face all the way at the back of the theater. I know it might sound a bit tricky, but it's actually a lot more simpler than it sounds. And they've got uses of microphones and stuff like that to kind of aid the listener and stuff like that. Even some more fancy new musicals have like big teleprompters so you can watch the whole thing. But it is extremely important because you have to be engaged with the other actors, and to do that you have to use your face in order to act and really convey your message, whether it's sad, whether it's happy, whether it's like you're trying to seduce somebody. Those are all very important things to learn and realize when it comes to performing musical theater. Okay, guys? Awesome. Now, there's two different types of musical theater, and the first one is called classical musical theater. Classical musical theater is stuff like Oklahoma, South Pacific, let's see here, Camelot, let's see here, any of the older Disney musicals like Newsies and stuff like that. Those are all considered like classical musical theater type sounds. And classical musical theater greatly is different from legit musical theater. Legit musical theater was stuff that started to hit more in the 70s. So stuff like Tommy by The Who, which is a rock opera, Miss Saigon, Les Miserables, Let's see here, big one. Oh, Phantom of the Opera. But Phantom of Opera is very interesting because it uses a little bit of classical style and a little bit of legit style. I'll give you guys an example to show you what I'm talking about, okay? So last lesson I used like Happy Birthday an example. So I'll just go ahead and do that right now so you guys can get an understanding of what it is I'm talking about. So classical musical theater will sound like this. Quick note, classical musical theater is more of a round type sound. It's not as bright, and by bright I mean it's not out in the audience or out in front as much. It's more towards the chest, and it sounds very proper and very controlled and that kind of thing. So classical musical theater, Happy Birthday would sound like this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear blankety blank. Happy birthday to you. So that is classical musical theater, and that's what the classical sound sounds like. Now I'm going to do legit musical theater, and before I say it, I'm going to say this. Legit musical theater is more bright, it's more focused, it's more out there in the audience. It's also, you'll see my teeth being used a lot more, and with my teeth, I'm able to create that bright and open sound. It also makes it sound a lot more like pop music, believe it or not, of today. And this is just because musical theater has just kind of evolved over the years into this type of sound. So this is what legit musical theater will sound like. Really notice the difference between classical and legit. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear blankety blank. Happy birthday to you. Do you hear it? It's the brightness, like on the birthday. That's what I'm talking about. That's what legit musical theater sounds like. So those are the two different types. So again, real quick, you've got classical musical theater and you've got legit musical theater. I hope that wasn't too much to absorb for you guys. If it was, go ahead and rewatch the lesson. Or if you guys have any sort of question or comment about that, leave me one in the comment section below. Okay, guys? Awesome. Now, what can you benefit from this style? Well, one of the biggest ones is power and volume. With being able to understand how to use and really sing this style, and not just sing it okay, but be very talented at it and be very good at it, you can really understand how to use power and volume to the point of where it's like, it's easy. It's easy to get loud. It's easy to get out there and in command and in control. But it's good because it teaches you how to project so that you can get someone's attention easier. See what I'm doing there? All I'm doing is using the diaphragm. But because of my musical theater training, that's what you can do. Also, if this is done right, and I mean done right, I mean this is like, it takes some training, it takes some practice, and it probably takes a good vocal coach. But you can have a huge vocal range, a huge range of being able to sing from this point all the way to this point. Also, if you guys have any other questions about range, there's one up here in the boxy box. I think it's entitled Range. So yeah, check that out if you guys have any questions about that. It can also teach you some acting basics because remember, you're acting in front of the audience and you're using your face to convey these messages, you know, and you really got to get in there and you got to get intense and you have to do this and then you have to really brighten up and stuff like that. And it might look very animated, but guess what? Musical theater is extremely animated, so it'll teach you some good acting basics. And finally, it'll teach you how to control and pull air and energy from other body parts. I know this might sound a little far-fetched, but it's absolutely true. Think about it. If you're on stage 8 hours a day, 5-6 days a week, you have to be able to use your body to the full function. I mean, musical theater artists that are out there on Broadway, they work their asses off. Excuse my French, but it's true. They work their butts off because they have to be in great shape. They have to be able to understand how the voice works, so they don't drink as often as much as you probably would think because they know it's their livelihood. They know it's their paycheck. They know it's their job. So you have to learn how to pull from different areas. You have to learn how to pull from the feet, and you have to learn how to pull from the legs and the glutes and the stomach and the arms, because you're up there on your stage, you know, and you're like, there's no business like show business. There's no business I know. Everyone can see me on it, you know, and you have to be able to have that and still maintain in control of what it is that you're doing and the message that you're trying to convey. I have a lesson in the boxy box where I talk about this. I think it's tips of the trade. Yeah, singing tips, tricks of the trade. So check that out here in the boxy box, and I can tell you can learn more about how to breathe from different areas of the body like I just discussed. Also, if you guys have a question about that, leave me one in the comment section below. Awesome. So how do you do this? Basically, what you got to remember is the more teeth that you use, the brighter the sound is, the more out there it is. Now, if you're going for a classical sound, you have to remember that it's more round and it's more proper, and you have to have that kind of thing. It doesn't mean you have to over-exaggerate it or overdo it. You're not trying to sound like this, and you're not trying to do that kind of thing, because that sounds ridiculous. And you're definitely not trying to do this, because that sounds ridiculous too. But you want to find a good medium. You want to find a good balance. That's what you want to do. The other thing you need to learn, you absolutely need to learn, is to breathe continuously from the diaphragm. You just have to. You guys can watch both of my lessons in Boxy Box. One is entitled Breathing Demo, and the other is The Diaphragm, How to Breathe. So check both those singing tips out as well. You have to put your face into it. I'm going to give you an example. This is what I'm talking about with acting with the face. This is from Chess, and the song's called Where I Want to Be. And I am sitting, but I'm going to be using my diaphragm the whole time. So watch my face and watch the emotion that I'm trying to convey through my voice. It would sound like this. Now I'm where I want to be, and do I want to be, and doing what I always said I wouldn't, yet I feel I haven't won at all. Running for my life and never looking back in case there's someone right behind to shoot me down and say he always knew I'd fall. When the crazy wheel slows down. That is acting with the face. And it might have looked ridiculous. It probably does look ridiculous, but that is what you need to learn if you're going to sing musical theater. The other thing is that join a musical, join a workshop, try out for a musical, try out for a workshop. Or the best advice I could say is use a private vocal coach skilled in this particular style, because believe me when I say this, it is very invaluable to get that kind of training. It's like when you get it, you'll be like, oh, that's why Dave Trevor said what he said, because it makes a huge difference if this is the style that you really want. And if you really are passionate about this style, go for it. I was passionate about this style at one point, and it was my livelihood. It's not really my livelihood anymore, but for those of our out there that you are still passionate about it, I hope that I can bring that passion back into you guys. Okay, guys? Finally, for further study, go ahead and check out a couple of these artists. These are in no particular order and no particular importance, but it's just what I considered from my study and just from looking online and in blogs and stuff. What are good examples of what musical theater is, how it's sung, how it's done, and all that kind of stuff, okay? So check these people out. Check out Barbra Streisand. Check out the TV show Glee. Check out movies like Moulin Rouge, Evita, Chicago. Any sort of the high school musical movies, as cheesy and as lame as they might be, they'll teach you how to sing musical theater. All the Disney films, with the exception of the ones that Pixar made, are all musicals. I didn't realize this until I started taking a look at it, but Lion King, Moulin Rouge, Mulan, let's see here, Jungle Book, Cinderella. Get it, guys? They're all musicals. They all have music in them. Any sort of touring musicals or college and high school musicals that you guys can watch too, those are great. They may cost money, but trust me, the experience that you'll get just from seeing how it's done will be amazing. It will be invaluable. By invaluable, I mean you can't put a price on it. You'll be like, wow, okay, I get it. So moving right into it, let's get into the question of the week. This is from Atiros, who asks, hi, I have a pretty deep voice. Do you have any helpful tips on how to sing with a deep voice but not sound too beastly or scary, like finding a middle ground somewhere? I get scared to even try to attempt to sing most of the time because of the bit of deepness it has. Thanks. Well, thank you so much for the question, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I have a couple tips here, and I actually wrote these down beforehand. Speak those low tones. What I mean is speak into the note. Again, you can find that in the tips of the trade and the boxy box up here, but I talk about speaking in the note. But what I mean is, instead of trying to sing that low note, speak that low note, and then therefore you'll have more control, and then you can pull back, and you can not blast the audience with that particular sound. See, all I'm doing is speaking that note, but it sounds like that's what I'm singing, but that's the idea of what I'm trying to say. So I know that's not really my vocal range, but pretty cool, right? Along with that, pull back. You know, don't try to blast the sound out there. Just pull it back. Just kind of give what you can give naturally. You don't need to get crazy with it. There's no need to get crazy with it. If you can sing those low notes, don't try to be pushing for those low notes, because a lot of people that can't sing those low notes do push for the low notes. But if you've already got those mastered and they're there, then pull back, because guess what? They're going to hear you. The other thing is be confident in your voice no matter what type it is. I don't care if it's a low voice, an airy voice, a nasally voice, a gritty voice, any of that kind of stuff. You have to be confident in the voice that you have in order to really, really utilize it and make it so that you're confident in whatever it is that you're singing. And the final thing is Find out what style you're shooting for. You might have a low voice, but maybe you're shooting for a beastly sound, or maybe you're shooting for a gravelly sound. Only you know that answer, and I hope that does answer your question. If you have any sort of other comment about it, or any of you guys out there who sing, or gals, maybe, I don't care, who sing in a very low register or low range, leave me one in the comment section below. Okay, guys? All right, also, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Bam. It's Ruzi. She's actually my female friend. She has a makeup channel and vlog channel, and she's trying to get a contest going. I don't know how many of my audience out there is interested in makeup or anything. My guess is hopefully it's a lot of my female viewers. But go ahead and click right here, and you can check out her channel, check out her contest, and if it's up your alley, check it out. And if you guys like her, subscribe. Next week is really exciting because we're going to be learning about how to rock. This is really cool because it's a rock lesson, and I'm really excited about it because I've never taught it, and a lot of these things I've never taught, so this will be really exciting to see and just go with it. So are you guys ready to rock? Because I'm ready to rock. We're going to be learning about over emotion. We're going to learn about how you deliver your words. Here's a little hint. You have to be lazy about it. We're going to learn about the different styles of rock because there's lots and lots of different styles and a whole lot more. So once again, my name is Dave Trevor. You guys can find me on Facebook right here. You guys can find and follow me on Twitter right here. And if you guys haven't already, subscribe. You got the big yellow button up top, big yellow button at the bottom, and I will talk to you guys later. You guys have a great weekend. Take care.